Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is the most frustrating piece of equipment I've ever reviewed. This is the Eflex 4 600 break catch and glove review, and why it's frustrating I'll get to in a second. So, use this for a little bit. I have always been a fan of Eflex gloves. I use the Eflex 1, love the break. I had a two-piece cuff. It was a practice palm, hard to close, but I loved the break. Felt very natural to me. Felt like a baseball glove. I'm really happy Carey Price signed on to them to build that glove because it came with this line. He's now using a 5.8, 590, but that doesn't matter. This glove has a lot of fans. I find CCM gloves in general have a lot of fans. And, well, they're pads too. But anyways, CCM gloves I find feel very unique compared to anything else. Even companies that kind of mimic like break angles and stuff like that, they end up just feeling totally different on your hand, and that could be a good thing, but it might just mean that it doesn't feel like a CCM glove, and some people really love that feeling. So diving into this, like I said, I really like the 600 break. I've been trying to kind of find gloves that have been closer to this. The Eflex 1 I really liked, but with like more broken in without a practice palm, so I could actually catch with it. This was decent for that, but I have some issues with it. One is CCM cuffs notoriously break. This one-piece cuff design, I don't know what it is, but a lot of these end up with a cracked cuff, more so than most other manufacturers. Evidently on social media, people have been saying that CCM has been sending people replacement cuffs. Awesome. Like they supposedly did it on Pro Return gear too. That's awesome. Good job, CCM. I have not had that experience with CCM. I haven't sent them a broken cuff, but I haven't had that experience with like issues I've had with their gear before. So if that's what they're doing now, good job for them, and that's a good move, step in the right direction. I guess I'm just gonna go over some things on this glove first. So backhand, it's pretty traditional feeling glove overall, to be totally honest. Opening it up, we have like right here, you do have quite a lot of strapping options. Obviously, you have this, you have your backhand fingers. I like the pinky and index finger loop. I find this to be most comfortable for me because it reminds me of like my baseball days. Basically, these two fingers would be in their own stalls. These ones would be in one with around this loop, and I could pull it tight. Just felt wonderful. So I kind of always get that on my gloves when I kind of do custom gloves, because I just find it's more comfortable like that. I know a lot of people like the individual finger stalls. Not really my thing, so that's decent there. I really like, I mentioned this in a different review for a pad, where I find a bunch of companies now are doing a really good job of like their straps and just like giving a little details to make it nice. Like this strap, just having the CCM logo stitched on with a little piece of leather. Really nice small detail. This being made out of Gen Pro, nice small detail. This one's not, but I get it because that one needs to be slimmed out for that, so it makes sense. Everything in here feels okay. It's not super comfortable. Like this material under here isn't super soft or anything like that. It's not a quick drying material or anything like that. It's like Bauer has their thermocore in this. It used to be at 37.5, now it's called thermocore. CCM doesn't really do that. They're kind of behind on all that for their goalie stuff, which is disappointing. See my block review for more of that, and I'll actually have another video on that in the description. But anyways, so this has their Sure Grip palms, as you can see right here, and I am very disappointed in that Sure Grip palm. And the reason being is I feel CCM has been cheapening out on their Sure Grip material. You can see the textured on it, and you can feel it a little bit, but once this gets wet, it just becomes slippery because it's not textured enough. Compare it to the Bauer one, where it's much more noticeable and you can definitely feel it on your hands. This doesn't grip enough anymore. I found the old gloves I had with CCM. I had a pair of player gloves, and they're 8 years old, and the material looks like this after 8 years. It was much more grippy like this when I got it. So that's really disappointing to me in that sense. Because it's not as good as it used to be. So I wouldn't even recommend going with the Sure Grip on this. I would just say get the Nash because it's probably more comfortable, and this doesn't really give you much grip niceness too. Another thing too is you'll see the difference between like Bauer and CCM now. That's the liner you get versus like this nice plush piece right here. It's pretty disappointing when you're looking at the competition. Again, CCM is being kind of traditional and staying with what they have. and they have a big following, and that's so they're kind of sticking to that, and that disappoints me because of I think they could do better, and they're kind of not for either cheapness or just because they're being too traditional. So I guess we'll bring it. So I got double T. It was one of the options with skate lace, so I just did it. I think this comes stock with a double T too. I don't really care that much for T's. Someone said they wanted a split T so they could look through it. I never looked through my catching glove before, so I have no issues. This looks like a puck could slide through, but I never had an issue when wearing it. My only thing with this glove is the T is pretty soft. As you can see, it's pretty soft right there. So when I went to pick up pucks with the T, I did find that sometimes, as it works perfectly there, I obviously can't put my hand in this and close it. I would find that the T would kind of split and it would fall out like that, but not big issues and not as big as issues as my Passau catching glove I've worn had. So now on to the frustrating part about this. Actually, so this does have D3O somewhere in the palm. I think it's right here. I had no issues with catching pucks on this for performance and like padding. No like real issues with it. Pro Palm did its job well. I'm really happy with it. I had a ton of issues with CCM retail glove on the Eflex 3, not Pro Palm. Unfortunately, this is Pro Palm, so I can't see if they actually fixed that or not. But everything was fine there. I do like how thick these are. Like they do have the sure grip on it, which would be nice, but I don't find the sure grip really does anything on these ones, so it's sort of disappointing. But it's nice and thick for the leather tabs for your pinky and or thumb. Now on to the frustrating part. So when I got this glove, it closed like this, and you can see down here, I did some videos on this on Instagram too. You can see down here, there is that kind of gets in the way. Now, when I close this glove and it closes like this, so if you put the pressure there, obviously there's a gap at the bottom. I put the pressure in the middle. It's pretty close. I did a few things to this glove, and I'm going to do a video on how to break these gloves in specifically afterwards, but this is a quick summary. CCM gloves. So I took about 15 different CCM gloves from Eflex 3 and Eflex 4 off of a store shelf, and I put them on and I closed them, and every single one had a gap in it when closing naturally before breaking in because of right here. So you can see how that gets in the way. This Eflex 1, that this little piece right here gets in the way, and now mine doesn't get in the way that much because, so I put this in a skate oven. I put a stick right here and I closed, and I basically found that point that was really tight, or that point that was getting in the way. I closed it, yanked it tight as I could, tied it up, left it, did it about 3 times, and then the thing closed like butter. And it was one of the best closing gloves I've ever worn after that. But I couldn't get it to that point until I basically flattened out this area right here to get it to totally seal, and now it seals ridiculously well. So that's why this glove is frustrating. It's one thing to have to break in a glove. I have no problems with having to break in a glove. Obviously, when it comes off the shelf, it's going to be stiffer than once you use it and everything. Brian's does an awesome thing where all their gloves go through a machine like this, and so all their gloves are basically broken in out of the box. Phenomenal idea. This, I find, is not breaking in your glove. I think this is breaking your glove or remaking your glove. And the reason being, this part should never have to be like broken in. This shouldn't have to be like kind of squished down to make it close right. Like there's no reason this is as thick as it is. My fingers aren't there when I put it in. They're like up here. So this even doesn't need to be rounded. But right, like it's so frustrating to me that this has been there since the Eflex 1 and they haven't like changed that. So I have a really hard time recommending a glove where you have to kind of flatten out a piece to get it to close properly. And it's really disappointing. And why this review was so hard and why it was so frustrating. This glove, I caught really well with this glove. It was really great after I did that. But CCM needs to I think they need to change this, and they kind of have to be brought like into changing it. And I feel like they don't like to listen to feedback. This has been around since the Eflex 1 and it hasn't really gotten any better. I've, like I said, gone to a store, pulled every glove off the rack, and I could do this, and it was an issue. Like while I like this glove and I think it's actually pretty good, I have a hard time recommending a glove that needs to be flattened out where it should be like that off the shelf, and also where I've heard horror stories of this cuff issue with the cuff breaking. But again, evidently CCM is fixing that now, and I don't have that personal experience, so I can't talk to that. CCM, like this is, I have a hard time recommending this, and this is why it's so frustrating. It was a really frustrating glove to review. It's so close to being really, really good, and it's definitely unique. Like this glove doesn't feel like anything else on the market. I find CCMs are very unique in how they feel, but I can't recommend that to someone when they have to crush a piece. I would say just try on another one and see if you like those before. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit the little bell icon on YouTube so you get notified when I make a new video. Remember to like or dislike this video. And Instagram and Twitter have these small little clips and like pictures and stuff of content that aren't big enough for YouTube, but I still think are interesting in the hockey world. So that's about it. And remember, actually, I'll have a video going over why CCM is kind of disappointing to me as a goalie company. I mentioned it briefly in the I mentioned it in the pads and the blocker review a little bit here, but I'm going to go over it a little bit more. And it's some things I think can change with the CCM line, especially the axis, which can make it really good and kind of unique. But check out that video. That will be either coming soon or in the description, depending on when this goes out. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.